Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance and watched the alien ships approach Earth through the main viewing screen. The sleek vessels moved like silver fish through space, their hulls gleaming under the light of Sol. 3. Years of preparation had led to this moment, and now humanity would finally meet its cosmic neighbors face to face. Communication officer turned from her station with wide eyes. "Admiral, they're requesting permission to dock with our orbital station." Jake nodded slowly. "Grant their request, Lieutenant." "Signal the diplomatic team that our guests have arrived." Captain Lisa Carter adjusted her dress uniform one final time before stepping into the airlock of Station Alpha. As Earth's chief diplomat, she had spent months learning about galactic protocols and customs. The weight of representing all humanity pressed down on her shoulders like a heavy cloak. The alien delegation emerged from their ship with graceful movements. Their leader, a tall being with pale blue skin and elongated features, stepped forward and extended what appeared to be a hand. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Ambassador Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire. We come in peace and friendship." Lisa reached out and grasped the alien hand, surprised by its warmth. "Welcome to our system." "Ambassador, I am Captain Lisa Carter, speaking for all the people of Earth. We are honored by your visit." The Zephyrian smiled, revealing teeth that seemed too perfect to be natural. "The honor is ours, Captain Carter. The Galactic Council has waited long to welcome humanity into our community of civilized worlds." Dr. Benjamin Hayes watched the first meeting through a live video feed from his laboratory deep within the Pentagon. As Earth's top scientist, he had been chosen to evaluate any technology the aliens might share. His hands trembled with excitement as he took notes on everything he observed. President Alex Warren sat in the Oval Office with his advisors, following every word of the historic conversation. Defense Secretary Marie Johnson leaned forward in her chair as the ambassador began to speak about the Council's generous offer. The Galactic Council consists of 47 different species from across this arm of the galaxy, Veltar explained, as he walked through Station Alpha's corridors with Lisa. "We have maintained peace and prosperity for over 3,000 of your years. Now we invite Earth to join us as an equal partner." Lisa could hardly believe what she was hearing. "What would membership involve, Ambassador?" "Technology sharing, trade agreements, and mutual defense pacts." The alien replied smoothly. "We offer your people faster than light travel, advanced energy systems, and medical knowledge that could extend human life by centuries. In return, we ask only for friendship and cooperation in maintaining galactic peace." Commander Ryan Tucker observed the proceedings from the station's security center. As head of Earth's intelligence division, he had developed a habit of watching everything with suspicious eyes. Something about the alien's too perfect smile bothered him, though he could not put his finger on exactly what it was. The negotiations continued for 3 days aboard Station Alpha. The Zephyrian delegation presented holographic displays showing their vast interstellar civilization. Cities that floated among the clouds of gas giants, space stations larger than Earth's moon, and fleets of ships that could cross the galaxy in mere weeks. Dr. Hayes joined the talks on the second day, his eyes lighting up as the aliens demonstrated their technology. They showed him energy weapons that could cut through solid steel like paper, starship drives that bent space itself, and computers that could process information faster than the human brain could comprehend. "This is incredible," Ben whispered to Lisa during a break in the discussions. "With technology like this, we could solve every problem facing humanity. Disease, poverty, resource shortages, all of it could become history." Ambassador Veltar overheard and nodded approvingly. "That is exactly our hope, Dr. Hayes. The Council believes in lifting up younger species and helping them reach their full potential. By the third day, President Warren had made his decision. He addressed the nation and the world from the White House, with the alien ambassador standing beside him at the podium. My fellow Americans and citizens of Earth, the president began. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in human history. We are no longer alone in the universe, and we have been offered a place among the stars. I am proud to announce that Earth will join the Galactic Council as its newest member. The crowd of reporters erupted in questions, but Warren raised his hand for silence. The benefits of this partnership will touch every human life. Our new allies will share technology that will revolutionize medicine, energy production, and space travel. Within 5 years, humans will walk on worlds beyond our solar system. Ambassador Veltar stepped forward to the microphone. The Council welcomes humanity with open arms. Your species shows great promise, and we look forward to a long and fruitful partnership. As a gesture of goodwill, we are prepared to begin technology transfers immediately. The first alien gifts arrived within weeks. Cargo ships delivered sophisticated manufacturing equipment, weapon designs, and the blueprints for humanity's first. Faster-than-light starships. Dr. Hayes worked around the clock with teams of engineers to understand and implement the new technology. Admiral Morrison oversaw the construction of Earth's first interstellar fleet at the Luna shipyards. The alien designs were elegant and efficient, incorporating energy systems and materials that human science had never imagined possible. Within 6 months, the first human starship powered by Council technology completed its maiden voyage to Proxima Centauri, but Commander Tucker continued to harbor doubts. Late at night in his secure office, he studied the alien technology specifications. With growing concern, the weapon systems seemed to have built-in limitations that prevented them from reaching their full potential. The starship drives contained components that served no apparent purpose but could not be removed without causing system failures. Most troubling of all were the communication arrays. Tucker discovered that every piece of Council technology contained hidden transmitters that sent encrypted signals back to Zephyrian space. When he brought his concerns to his superiors, they dismissed his worries as paranoia. "Commander, you're seeing conspiracies where none exist," General Collins told him during a briefing. "The aliens have been nothing but generous and helpful. These communication systems are probably just diagnostic tools or safety features." Tucker wanted to argue further, but he knew it was pointless. The entire world had fallen under the spell of the Council's promises, and nobody wanted to hear warnings about potential deception. He decided to continue his investigation in secret, gathering evidence that might prove his suspicions correct. Meanwhile, construction of Earth's new space fleet continued at an unprecedented pace. Shipyards around the solar system worked day and night to build vessels based on Council designs. Young men and women from every nation volunteered to serve aboard these ships, eager to explore the galaxy and serve humanity's cosmic destiny. Captain Sam Rodriguez commanded one of the first completed vessels, a sleek cruiser called the UES Explorer. During her shakedown cruise to the outer planets, he marveled at the ship's capabilities. The faster-than-light drive could cross vast distances in hours rather than years, and the energy weapons could vaporize asteroids with ease. "This technology is beyond anything we could have imagined," Rodriguez told his crew during a briefing. "We're living in the greatest age of human history. Within a generation, our children will be citizens of the galaxy itself." His words were met with enthusiastic agreement from the bridge crew. Everyone believed they were witnessing humanity's graduation to a higher level of civilization, guided by benevolent alien mentors who wanted nothing more than to help their younger brothers reach the stars. Hayes continued his work in the Pentagon laboratories, reverse engineering Council technology and adapting it for human use. The aliens had provided instruction manuals and technical support, making the process surprisingly straightforward. Every system worked exactly as promised, and the performance exceeded all expectations. Yet Tucker's investigation was revealing disturbing patterns in the technology transfers. A council seemed unusually interested in Earth's military capabilities and population statistics. Their technical advisors asked detailed questions about human psychology, tactics, and willingness to fight for distant causes. Most concerning was a conversation Tucker had intercepted between two Zephyrian technicians working at the Luna shipyards. Speaking in their native language, which Tucker had learned to understand through months of study, they discussed how easily humans could be manipulated and how well they would serve as expendable troops in upcoming conflicts. But when Tucker tried to share this intelligence with his superiors, he was told that he was misinterpreting innocent technical discussions. The military leadership was too excited about their new capabilities to listen to warnings about potential threats. As Earth's first year of Council membership drew to a close, humanity celebrated its technological revolution. Diseases that had plagued mankind for millennia were being cured with alien medical techniques. Energy production had increased 100-fold with Council power systems. The first human colonies were being established on worlds dozens of light years from Earth. Ambassador Colonel Danny Brooks adjusted his helmet as the Hughes Ranger dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the Kepler system. 3 years had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Council, and routine patrol missions like this one had become commonplace. His squadron of 6 ships was conducting a standard reconnaissance sweep of the outer territories, mapping new systems for potential human colonization. "Colonel, we're picking up some unusual transmissions from the 4th planet," reported Lieutenant Amy Foster from her communications station. "The signals are encrypted using Council protocols, but they're much stronger than normal diplomatic traffic." Brooks frowned as he studied the readings on his display screen. The planet below was supposed to be uninhabited according to Council records, yet the signal strength suggested a major installation or fleet presence. "Can you break the encryption, Lieutenant?" Amy's fingers danced across her console as she fed the intercepted transmissions through the ship's computers. The Council had provided humans with basic decryption software as part of their technology package, though it was supposedly limited to emergency communications only. "I'm getting some fragments, sir," she said after several minutes of work. "It looks like military communications, but the content doesn't make sense. They're discussing something called Operation Harvest, and there are references to human deployment schedules." The words sent a chill down Brooks's spine. He had served in Earth's military for 15 years before the Council's arrival, and he knew the language of military planning when he heard it. "Record everything, Lieutenant. We need to get this information back to Earth immediately." Back on Earth, Dr. Helen Price worked late into the night in her laboratory at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. As one of the world's leading experts in alien technology, she had been tasked with understanding and improving the Council's gifts to humanity. But her recent discoveries had left her deeply troubled. The Council's energy weapons contained sophisticated control circuits that she had initially assumed were safety features. However, detailed analysis revealed that these circuits could be activated remotely to disable the weapons completely. Every human ship, gun, and defense system contained similar hidden controls. Even more disturbing was her discovery of microscopic surveillance devices embedded in every piece of Council technology. These tiny transmitters constantly monitored human activities and transmitted detailed reports back to Zephyrian space. The aliens weren't just observing humanity's military capabilities. They were watching everything. Dr. Price picked up her secure phone and dialed General Pete Collins at the Pentagon. "General, we need to immediately. I found something that threatens the security of every human on Earth." Collins had been expecting this call for months. He had served as Earth's military liaison with the Council, and their increasing demands for detailed information about human psychology and combat capabilities had raised red flags in his experienced mind. "My office, 1 hour," he said quietly. "Use the back entrance and tell no one about this meeting. Meanwhile, Captain Sam Rodriguez was leading his ship on what the Council called training exercise near the edge of human space. The UES Explorer had been joined by 12 other vessels in a mock assault on an asteroid field that supposedly simulated enemy fortifications. The exercise seemed straightforward enough, but Rodriguez noticed that the Council observers aboard his ship were paying unusual attention to casualty reports and ammunition expenditure rates. They asked detailed questions about human morale under fire and how quickly crews could be replaced if ships were lost. Captain, the Council advisors want to know our maximum sustainable loss rate, reported his executive officer, Lieutenant Commander Greg Palmer. They're asking how many ships we could lose per day while maintaining offensive operations. Rodriguez felt his stomach tighten. No training exercise required that kind of information unless someone was planning for real combat with expected heavy losses. Tell them we'll provide that data after we complete our mission analysis, he replied carefully on Earth. Dr. Price spread her findings across General Collins's desk in the secure briefing room deep beneath the Pentagon. Photographs of microscopic devices, technical diagrams of hidden control circuits, and intercepted communications filled every available surface. Every piece of technology they've given us is compromised, she explained as Collins studied the evidence. They can shut down our weapons, disable our ships, and they've been watching our every move for 3 years. We're not all eyes, General. We're prisoners who don't know we're in a cage yet. Collins picked up one of the surveillance devices, barely visible to the naked eye. How widespread is this? Everything, Helen replied grimly. Every ship, every weapon, every computer system. They know more about our military capabilities than we do ourselves. And based on the communication patterns I've detected, they're preparing for something big. The general activated his secure terminal and began reviewing classified reports from across human space. Similar discoveries were being made by scientists and intelligence officers throughout Earth's military, but the information was scattered and incomplete. Dr. Price, I want you to assemble a team of absolutely trustworthy people, scientists and engineers who can work on this problem without attracting Council attention. We need to find a way to remove these control systems and surveillance devices without triggering any alarms. Helen nodded grimly. I've already identified several candidates. But General, if the Council discovers what we're doing, they won't. Collins interrupted. Because we're going to be very careful and very quiet about this. As far as anyone knows, you're working on improving Council technology, not dismantling it. Meanwhile, Colonel Brooks's squadron had completed their reconnaissance of the Kepler system and discovered the source of the mysterious transmissions. Hidden behind the fourth planet's largest moon was a massive Council military base, complete with shipyards, weapons manufacturing facilities, and training grounds. Colonel, you need to see this. Amy Foster called from her station. I've managed to decrypt more of their communications. They're training non-human troops in tactics specifically designed to fight against human ships and weapons. Brooks studied the intelligence reports with growing horror. The base was preparing for a war against humanity, using detailed knowledge of human military capabilities to develop counter-strategies. Everything the Council had learned during their 3-year partnership was being used to plan humanity's defeat. Set course for Earth, maximum speed, he ordered, and maintain complete communication silence until we reach home. If the Council knows we've discovered this base, they might accelerate whatever they're planning. Back on Earth, President Warren sat in the Oval Office, reviewing the latest reports from human colonies across the galaxy. The expansion program was proceeding ahead of schedule, with new settlements being established on dozens of worlds. The Council's technology had made humanity's dream of galactic civilization a reality. Defense Secretary Marie Johnson entered with a concerned expression. Mr. President, we're receiving some disturbing intelligence reports from our deep space patrols. There are indications that the Council may not be as benevolent as they appear. Oren looked up from his papers with surprise. What kind of indications? Marie, hidden military installations, surveillance devices in our technology, and intercepted communications suggesting that we're being prepared for some kind of conflict, she replied carefully. General Collins is coordinating the investigation, but the evidence is becoming difficult to ignore. The president felt his world beginning to shift beneath his feet. For 3 years, he had proudly led humanity into its cosmic destiny, guided by what he believed were wise and generous alien mentors. The possibility that it had all been an elaborate deception was almost too horrible to contemplate. "Get me a meeting with General Collins and Dr. Hayes immediately," he said quietly. "And Marie, this conversation never happened until we know exactly what we're dealing with." At the Luna shipyards, construction of humanity's fleet continued at an accelerated pace. The Council had recently requested that Earth double its ship production, claiming that growing threats from hostile species required a stronger human presence in the outer systems. Admiral Jake Morrison watched the work from his command center, but his enthusiasm for the project had begun to wane. Too many things about the Council's requests didn't make sense from a strategic standpoint. They were building humanity's fleet for offensive operations rather than defense, and the ship designs prioritized firepower over survivability. His secure communicator chimed with an incoming message from Commander Ryan Tucker. "Admiral, we need to talk privately. I have information that will change everything you think you know about our alien friends." Morrison felt a cold certainty settle in his chest. After 3 years of nagging doubts and unanswered questions, the truth was finally beginning to emerge. "My quarters, 30 minutes. And Commander, make sure you're not followed." As night fell over Earth, scattered groups of humans began to piece together the horrifying reality of their situation. They were not valued allies in a galactic civilization, but pawns in an alien game of conquest and manipulation. The technology that had seemed like humanity's salvation was actually the instrument of their end. Admiral Jake Morrison activated the jamming field in his private quarters as commander. Ryan Tucker entered through the secured entrance. The small room was now completely isolated from any Council surveillance devices, a precaution that had become standard practice for Earth's most sensitive military discussions. "Admiral, what I'm about to show you will change everything," Tucker said as he placed a datapad on the desk between them. "We've been living in a carefully constructed lie for 3 years, and the truth is worse than our worst nightmares." Morrison studied the intelligence reports with growing alarm. Intercepted communications revealed Council plans to use humanity as expendable shock troops in their war against the Outer Rim territories. Hidden military installations throughout human space were preparing for occupation rather than defense. Most shocking of all were biological studies conducted on human prisoners, analyzing their pain tolerance and psychological breaking points. "How long have you known about this?" Morrison asked quietly. "Fragments have been coming together for months, but we only confirmed the full scope yesterday," Tucker replied. "The Council isn't just planning to use us as soldiers, Admiral. They're planning to exterminate humanity once we've served our purpose." Meanwhile, deep in the asteroid fields beyond, Pluto, Chief Engineer Claire Murphy oversaw the construction of humanity's most classified project. Hidden from Council observers, a team of Earth's most brilliant minds worked around the clock to build ships and weapons. Based purely on human innovation, the secret facility had been established 6 months earlier after Dr. Helen Price's discoveries. About Council surveillance. Every component was manufactured using materials mined from asteroids, and every design was created without any alien technology or influence. The first prototype is ready for testing, reported Lieutenant Commander Greg Palmer as he joined Murphy at the main observation deck. It's not as elegant as the Council designs, but our analysis suggests it might actually be more effective in combat. Murphy nodded as she watched the sleek human-built fighter emerge from the construction bay. Unlike the Council ships with their curved lines and artistic flourishes, this vessel was purely functional. Every surface was designed for stealth, speed, or firepower. Run the full test sequence, she ordered. I want to know exactly what this ship can do before we commit to mass production. Back on Earth, Dr. Helen Price worked in a converted warehouse outside Denver with a team of 12 carefully selected scientists and engineers. Officially, they were developing improvements to Council technology, but their real mission was far more dangerous. We've successfully removed the surveillance devices from this weapon system, announced Professor Janet Cruz as she held up a plasma rifle that had been completely rebuilt. The power output is actually 30% higher than the original Council specifications. Dr. Price examined the modified weapon with satisfaction. Excellent work, Janet. It appears the Council's improvements to human technology were actually limitations designed to keep us weak. The team had made similar discoveries across every category of alien technology. The Council's gifts contained hidden weaknesses that prevented humans from accessing their full potential. Energy shields that could deflect any attack were programmed to fail against specific weapon frequencies. Starship engines capable of incredible speed were restricted to much slower velocities. Sam Anderson, one of the team's youngest members, looked up from his computer terminal with excitement. Dr. Price, I think I've figured out how to reverse engineer their faster-than-light communication system. If we can build our own version without their control codes, we could coordinate resistance activities across human space without the Council knowing. Meanwhile, Commander Ryan Tucker had established contact with other species that had fallen victim to Council manipulation. Using stolen communication frequencies, he reached out to rebel groups fighting against Zephyrian oppression throughout the galaxy. The first response came from a species called the Kethran, insectoid beings whose homeworld had been conquered 50 years earlier. Their leader, identified only as Hive Speaker Z-Thi, transmitted detailed intelligence about Council military capabilities and tactical weaknesses. Human Commander, your species shows promise, the alien message stated. The Zephyrians made the same mistake with us that they make with all younger races. They assume that primitive means weak, and that deception means victory. We have learned otherwise through decades of resistance. Similar messages arrived from the aquatic Meraldath and several other species that had been subjugated by the Council. Each group offered to share intelligence and coordinate attacks when humanity was ready to strike. Back General Pete Collins coordinated the growing resistance network from a secure command center hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains. The facility had been excavated using human-only construction teams and was invisible to Council sensors. We now have confirmation that 47 different species are under Council control. He briefed the assembled military leaders. Most were conquered using the same deception tactics they've employed against us. The good news is that many of these species are actively working to undermine Council authority. Admiral Morrison studied the tactical displays showing Council fleet positions throughout human space. General, our intelligence suggests they're preparing to announce some kind of major military campaign. We need to be ready to act before they can spring whatever trap they've prepared. Agreed, Collins replied. Dr. Price's team estimates they'll need another 6 months to fully weaponize our hidden fleet. Can we delay Council operations that long? The answer came from an unexpected source when Captain Sam Rodriguez returned from his latest training exercise with disturbing news. The Council had announced that humanity would spearhead a glorious crusade against the Outer Rim territories, with the first attacks scheduled to begin in just 3 months. They're calling it the Great Liberation, Rodriguez reported to Morrison via encrypted communication. Ambassador Veltar, claims that hostile aliens are threatening galactic peace, and that humanity has been chosen to lead the fight because of our exceptional courage and military skill. Morrison felt his blood turn cold. The Council's timeline had accelerated far beyond their worst-case scenarios. "Captain, what's the expected human casualty rate for this operation? They're projecting 90% losses in the first wave." "Admiral, they say it's the price of heroism, and that Earth should be proud to sacrifice for galactic civilization." The Admiral terminated the communication and immediately contacted General Collins. "Pete, they've moved up their timeline. We have less than 3 months to prepare for war." At the secret facility beyond Pluto, Claire Murphy received the emergency transmission and immediately accelerated production schedules. Her teams began working in shifts around the clock, building humanity's secret fleet as quickly as possible. "We can have 50 ships ready in 8 weeks, she reported during the emergency planning session. "They won't be pretty, but they'll be completely independent of Council technology and capable of taking on anything the aliens can throw at us." Dr. Price's team made their own preparations by developing a computer virus that could be transmitted through Council communication networks. When activated, it would disable the hidden control systems in human technology and reveal the location of every Council spy device. "It's our insurance policy," she explained to General Collins. "When the shooting starts, every human ship and weapon will be freed from Council control simultaneously. They'll discover that their supposedly helpless pawns have suddenly become very dangerous enemies." Meanwhile, President Warren struggled with the most difficult decision of his political career. The evidence of Council deception was now overwhelming, but publicly revealing the truth would cause panic and potentially trigger premature conflict. "Mr. President, we need your authorization to begin covert military preparations," Defense Secretary Marie Johnson urged during their classified briefing. "Every day we delay gives the Council more time to strengthen their position." Warren stared out the window of the Oval Office at the crowds of tourists visiting the White House. In a few months, many of those innocent people might be dead if he made the wrong choice. "Marie, what are our chances if we fight the Council now versus waiting for their planned campaign? Now we have the element of surprise and the possibility of coordinating with other rebel species," she replied honestly. "During their campaign, we'd be walking into a carefully prepared trap with no A's and compromised equipment." The president picked up his secure phone and placed a call to Admiral Morrison. "Admiral, you have presidential authorization to implement Operation Prometheus. May God help us all." Across human space, the secret preparations for rebellion began in earnest. Hidden factories worked to build weapons and ships that could challenge the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Intelligence networks coordinated with alien resistance groups to plan simultaneous strikes against Council installations, but most importantly, humanity began to rediscover the strength and innovation that had carried them from caves to the stars. The Council had tried to make them dependent and weak, but instead they had awakened a sleeping giant that would soon shake the very foundations of galactic civilization. The deception was about to end, and the Galax. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution as his hidden fleet emerged from the asteroid fields beyond Pluto. 50 human-built warships materialized like ghosts against the star field, their dark hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. 3 months of desperate preparation had led to this moment, and now humanity would either win its freedom or die in the attempt. "All ships report ready for combat," Admiral announced Captain Patricia Bell from her position at the communications station. "Dr. Price's virus has been uploaded to the Council networks and is standing by for activation." Morrison nodded grimly as he watched the tactical display showing Council positions throughout the solar system. 12 Zephyrian warships orbited Earth, while another 20 patrolled the outer planets. They believed themselves the masters of a conquered system, But they were about to discover their fatal mistake. Signal all human vessels to implement radio silence protocols, Morrison ordered. From this moment forward, we communicate only through quantum burst transmissions. The Council will not know we're coming until we're already among them. Captain Lisa Carter commanded the strike cruiser, Use Vengeance, as it accelerated toward the Council fleet near Mars. Her ship was smaller than the alien vessels, but carried weapons that the enemy had never encountered before. Human innovation had created plasma cannons that could punch through any known shield, and gravity mines that could trap ships in spatial distortions. Captain, we're receiving the final attack authorization from Admiral Morrison, reported her weapons officer, Lieutenant Kevin Stone. All ships are to engage simultaneously in 30 seconds. Carter felt her heart pounding as she watched the countdown timer reach 0. All weapons, fire at will. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten humanity. The first salvo from the human fleet struck the Council ships like lightning from a clear sky. Plasma beams designed without alien limitations tore through Zephyrian shields as if they were made of paper. The enemy vessels, caught completely off guard, struggled to respond to attacks that should have been impossible on Earth. Dr. Helen Price activated her computer virus from the secure facility in Colorado. The program spread through Council networks at the speed of light, disabling surveillance systems and removing control codes from every piece of human technology across the galaxy. Within minutes, human ships and weapons everywhere began operating at their true potential for the first time. In 3 years, energy outputs increased by 50%, weapon systems unlocked hidden capabilities, and communication arrays began transmitting on frequencies. The Council could not monitor. Colonel Danny Brooks led the ground assault on the Council command center in Geneva. His Marine units had trained for months using weapons and equipment built entirely by human hands. They moved through the facility like a precise machine, neutralizing alien guards who had never faced opponents equipped with Earth technology. Resistance is lighter than expected, Brooks reported as his team secured the main control room. It appears the Council never considered the possibility that we might fight back. The truth was that the Zephyrians had grown complacent after centuries of easy conquests. They had defeated dozens of species using the same deception tactics, and none had ever mounted effective resistance once the trap was sprung. High Chancellor Vextar watched in horror from his flagship as human vessels destroyed his supposedly invincible fleet. His tactical displays showed impossible readings as primitive human weapons cut through advanced Council defenses like hot knives through butter. How is this possible? He demanded of his bridge crew. These humans should be helpless without our technology supporting them. His science officer, a nervous Nixari named Krulsik, studied the incoming data with growing alarm. Chancellor, it appears the humans have been developing their own technology in secret. Their weapons are operating on principles we don't understand. Meanwhile, Captain Sam Rodriguez coordinated with the alien resistance movements as human fleets struck Council installations across the galaxy. The Kethrin hives rose in rebellion, their warrior castes joining human Marines in assault after assault against Zephyrian strongholds. The insect people are proving to be excellent allies, Rodriguez reported to Admiral Morrison. Their coordination with our ground forces is giving us tactical advantages the Council never anticipated. The aquatic Miraldoth contributed their own unique capabilities by sabotaging Council underwater facilities and mining operations. Their deep-sea expertise allowed them to attack targets that other species could not reach. Dr. Benjamin Hayes revealed the full extent of Earth's technological achievements as the battle raged across human space. The quantum computers and energy systems that his teams had developed in secret were not just equal to Council technology, but actually superior in many ways. We've been building on foundations that the Council deliberately weakened, he explained, during a secure transmission to President Warren. Our original designs were better all along, but their improvements held us back. Now that we've removed those limitations, our capabilities exceed anything they possess." The revelation spread panic through council ranks as they realized the scope of their miscalculation. The species they had planned to use as expendable soldiers had become the most dangerous military force in the galaxy. General Pete Collins directed the liberation of human colonies as rebel fleets swept through council space. World after world threw off alien occupation as human forces arrived with weapons and equipment that could not be controlled or disabled by their former masters. The council maintained control through technological dependence, Collins explained to his commanders. Once we broke that dependence, their entire system of oppression collapsed like a house of cards. Major Kate Williams led the assault on the council's main military academy on Nexus Prime. The facility had been used to train alien officers in tactics for fighting against various species, including detailed studies of human psychology and combat behavior. "The arrogance is incredible," Williams reported as her team secured the Academy's computer systems. "They have files on dozens of species they've conquered, complete with plans for extermination once their usefulness ended." The intelligence gathered from captured council facilities revealed the true scope of their empire's crimes. Species after species had been deceived, exploited, and ultimately destroyed in the same pattern that had been planned for humanity. Captain Kevin Stone commanded one of the human ships attacking the Council's primary shipyard at Zephyros Prime. The massive facility had been building vessels for the planned campaign against the Outer Rim, but now it became a target for human fury. "Their construction techniques are actually less efficient than ours," Stone observed as his weapons systematically dismantled the alien shipyard. "They've been coasting on stolen technology for so long that they've forgotten how to truly innovate." The battle for Zephyros Prime lasted 18 hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. Human forces had achieved complete tactical and technological superiority through their secret preparations and willingness to fight with desperate courage. As the Council's capital world burned, Admiral Morrison received surrender offers from scattered alien fleets throughout the galaxy. The once mighty Galactic Council had been reduced to broken remnants, begging for mercy from the species they had tried to enslave. "Admiral, we're receiving communications from Council survivors requesting terms," reported Captain Bell. "They're offering to share their remaining technology in exchange for their lives." Morrison considered the offer for a moment before responding. "Tell them that humanity doesn't negotiate with slavers and genocidal maniacs. They can surrender unconditionally or face the consequences of their actions." The final phase of the rebellion had begun, and across the galaxy, the former masters of countless worlds learned what it meant to face the wrath of awakened humanity. The Council's age of deception and oppression was ending, and a new era of human dominance was about to begin. The species that had thought themselves clever enough to manipulate Earth discovered too late that they had awakened something far more dangerous than they ever imagined. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the former council chambers on Zephyros Prime, now renamed Liberation Station, as he watched the last Zephyrian officials sign the unconditional surrender documents. 1 year had passed since humanity's rebellion began, and the galaxy looked nothing like it had before. The mighty Galactic Council was gone, replaced by the expanding Human Federation that grew stronger with each passing day. President Alex Warren, now elevated to the position of Terran Chancellor, addressed the assembled representatives of 47 different species from the great podium where Zephyrian leaders had once issued their commands. His words were translated into dozens of languages as he spoke about the new order that would govern galactic civilization. "The age of deception and exploitation has ended," Warren declared to the crowded chamber. "No longer will advanced species prey upon the weak through false promises and technological manipulation. The Human Federation guarantees the freedom and protection of all peoples who choose to join our alliance Dr. Helen Price, now serving as Director of Galactic Sciences, oversaw the distribution of true advanced technology to species that had been suppressed by the Council for centuries. Her teams worked alongside alien scientists who had been forbidden to develop their own innovations under the previous regime. The Kethron have natural engineering abilities that surpass even our own, she reported during a briefing with the Federation leadership. Once freed from Council restrictions, they've made breakthrough discoveries in quantum mechanics and spatial manipulation. The insectoid species had become humanity's closest allies during the war, and their hive-based thinking provided unique solutions to complex technological problems. Engineer cast leader Vith Kar worked directly with human scientists to develop new ship designs that incorporated both species' innovations. Meanwhile, the aquatic Meralduth contributed their expertise in underwater construction and resource extraction. Their leader, Deep Singer Orlena, had established joint colonies with human settlers on ocean worlds throughout Federation Space Captain Lisa Carter commanded the U.E.'s Dominion, flagship of the Federation's first fleet, as it explored regions of the galaxy that had been forbidden to younger species under Council rule. The massive vessel carried a crew of humans and aliens, working together as equals rather than masters and slaves. Captain, we're detecting artificial structures in the Galactic Core region, reported her science officer, Lieutenant Commander Nancy Brooks. The energy signatures suggest technology far more advanced than anything the Council possessed. Carter studied the sensor readings with fascination. It appears the Council itself was being manipulated by even older powers. Set course for the core system's best speed. We need to understand what's out there. The discoveries in the Galactic Center revealed that the Zephyrian Empire had been just one layer in a complex hierarchy of control that stretched back millions of years. Ancient machines and abandoned cities hinted at civilizations that had risen and fallen long before any current species had achieved spaceflight back on Earth. Children attended schools where human and alien teachers worked side by side, sharing knowledge and perspectives that had been kept separate for centuries. The rigid boundaries between species that the Council had maintained were dissolving as the Federation encouraged cooperation and cultural exchange. General Pete Collins, now serving as Federation military commander, oversaw the integration of former Council forces into the new military structure. Many alien soldiers who had served the old regime were eager to prove their loyalty to the Federation's principles of freedom and equality. The Nexari make excellent strategists once you remove the Council's conditioning, Collins observed during a planning session. Their analytical minds complement human intuition in ways that create superior tactical solutions. Even former enemies found places in the new order. High Chancellor Vextar, stripped of his titles and power, worked as a translator in the Federation's diplomatic corps. His intimate knowledge of galactic politics made him valuable despite his past crimes, though he was closely monitored at all times. It is ironic, Vextar confessed during one of his regular interviews with Federation intelligence. We thought ourselves the masters of manipulation, but humanity proved far more adaptable than any species we had encountered before. Your ability to innovate under pressure exceeded all our calculations. Dr. Benjamin Hayes, now heading the Federation's research division, made discoveries that revolutionized understanding of faster-than-light travel and energy manipulation. The Council's hoarded knowledge, combined with human creativity and alien perspectives, produced technological advances that seemed almost magical. We've developed engines that can cross the galaxy in days rather than months, Hayes reported to Chancellor Warren. The universe is becoming smaller every day, and our ability to protect and unite the peoples of different worlds grows stronger. Captain Sam Rodriguez led exploration missions beyond the galactic rim, where his ships encountered civilizations that had never known Council oppression. These distant peoples viewed the arriving humans with curiosity rather than fear. Having heard reports of the Federation's liberation of enslaved worlds, the beings in the Magellanic Clouds had developed completely different approaches to science and technology. Rodriguez transmitted from his flagship UES Explorer. They're eager to establish trade relationships and share knowledge with the Federation. Commander Ryan Tucker, promoted to Director of Federation Intelligence, coordinated security operations across hundreds of worlds. His networks monitored potential threats while also identifying species that might benefit from Federation protection and technology sharing. "We've learned from the Council's mistakes," Tucker explained to his staff. "Power based on deception and fear always breeds resistance. True strength comes from willing cooperation and mutual benefit." The former Council territories were reorganized into Federation sectors, each governed by councils that included representatives from all local species. Human administrators worked to ensure fair treatment and equal opportunity for everyone, regardless of their previous status under the old regime. Major Kate Williams established training academies on dozens of worlds where young beings from all species could learn about Federation principles and develop their talents. The rigid caste systems and species hierarchies that the Council had enforced were replaced with merit-based advancement and individual freedom. "Education is the foundation of lasting peace," Williams told her instructors. "When people understand that cooperation produces better results than oppression, they choose cooperation voluntarily." The Federation's expansion continued as more species requested membership and protection. Admiral Morrison, now Supreme Fleet Commander, oversaw the construction of massive shipyards throughout Federation space where vessels, designed by multiple species, incorporated the best ideas from each civilization. Chief Engineer Claire Murphy directed these construction projects from her headquarters on Luna, which had become the Federation's primary manufacturing center. The shipyards that once built Council vessels now produced exploration ships, colony transports, and defensive platforms for the growing alliance, were launching 100 new ships per month, Murphy reported during the monthly production briefing. Each design incorporates improvements suggested by our alien partners. The Federation fleet becomes more capable with every vessel we complete. As the Federation's second year began, Chancellor Warren announced the Great Expansion, a program to explore and colonize regions beyond the known galaxy. Massive ships carrying mixed crews of humans and aliens departed for distant star clusters where new worlds and new peoples waited to be discovered. Admiral Morrison stood on the observation deck of the Federation's newest dreadnought as it prepared for its maiden voyage to the Andromeda Galaxy. The vessel represented everything humanity had learned about cooperation, innovation, and the strength that came from unity rather than domination. The Council thought they could use us as tools, Morrison reflected as he watched the stars wheel past the ship's windows. Instead, they gave us the opportunity to become something greater than they ever imagined. The galaxy belongs to all of us now, and we will make sure it stays that way. Children born on Federation worlds grew up knowing that the universe was vast and full of friends rather than enemies. The age of fear and deception had ended, replaced by an era of exploration and wonder that would carry intelligent life to heights never before achieved. Species that had once planned to enslave humanity discovered too late that they had awakened the galaxy's greatest protectors.